Hey guys, and welcome to Finding Fannie, the cooking vlog designed to connect with Fannie Brandon, the Davidson College fraternity cook who helped inspire the name for the Davidson eating house, Fannie and Mabel's. My name is Lee Chandler, and I'm a senior here at Davidson College. Today I'm going to be taking you through some of Fannie Brandon's most popular dishes to try and recreate a meal that she could have made right here in Davidson. First, let's start with Mabel's rolls. As I've heard, they were the most popular things that these two women could make at Davidson. And you might be thinking, isn't that Mabel Torrance's recipe? You know, the other half of Fannie and Mabel's? Well, yeah. But as I've heard, these two women were inseparable, and they cooked together for over 30 years. I'd say Fannie Brandon probably had this one down pat. While I take you through making Mabel's rolls, let me just explain a little bit about what I'm doing here, why I'm researching Fannie, and why I'm using cooking as a way to connect with her. Well, first a disclaimer. I'm not some well-renowned chef. I'm just a college student who knows enough about cooking to get by when her meals run out. But I do love cooking, and I've really loved getting to know Fannie through my research. So I thought, why not combine the two? Why not follow in her footsteps, make the same exact dishes she made while she was here at Davidson? And in the process, I'd learn how to cook. And really, she'd be teaching me how to cook. While I was unable to uncover Fannie and Mabel's actual Mabel rolls recipe, the great thing about the internet is that you can always find some semblance of what you need. So by Googling Mabel's rolls, I found a recipe that may have been the recipe that Fannie and Mabel used here at Davidson, or it may at least resemble it. No Southern meal is complete without yeast rolls. So let's get started. This recipe includes 1 cup of warm water, 1 cup of warm milk, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 egg, 1 packet of yeast, 1/3 of a cup of vegetable shortening, a teaspoon of salt, and 5 cups of flour. The first step to making Mabel rolls is adding the yeast to the warm water and mixing. I probably heard about Fannie when I was about 8 or 9 years old, after begging my father to tell me more stories about college. One of his favorites to tell was right after he joined Kappa Sigma fraternity in 1969, the fraternity officials came to campus, found out that they weren't taking the fraternity as seriously as Kappa Sigma would have wished, so they lost their charter. But that didn't faze them, that just meant they got a cool new name. And so they turned to the women who fed them, took care of them every single day, Fannie and Mabel. Next, you mix the vegetable shortening, the warm milk, and the 1/3 cup of sugar all together. As I heard my dad talk about Fannie and Mabel's eating house, I kind of made Fannie and Mabel into these mystical figures, these wonderful women whose cooking was so good that they had an entire eating house named after them. Once this is well mixed, pour both of these two mixtures you already have into a bowl together and mix them all up. This semester I'm taking a course called Death in the Digital Age, a class that looks at how death has evolved with new technology, and specifically whether we can ever die, or at least whether or not we can be resurrected on the internet. Next, slowly but surely, add in the flour and the salt. One cup at a time. Add the egg to the mixture of vegetable shortening, milk, and sugar. And mix. My final for my Death in the Digital Age course is to digitally resurrect someone who had something to do with Davidson. As I started thinking about who I'd resurrect, I eventually began to remember my dad's stories of Fannie and Mabel, and it didn't take me long to connect with Fannie. Next, we need to knead the dough. Turn your dough out onto a floured board, and if you're just a college student who doesn't have many kitchen supplies yet, you can use a cooking pan with saran wrap over it, or plastic wrap over it. pick up your dough out of your pot. Yep, it's gonna be sticky. And plop it down. The best thing to do is just get down into it. What you want to do is take the part that's farthest away from you, fold it over, and then push it back with the bottoms of your hands. Halfway through, take a break, get some new saran wrap, get some new flour, and start again. The hard part is there's little information about Fannie out there. She died in 2003, less than a decade after the internet became popularized. Further disadvantaged, as a working-class African-American woman, there's little information about her own websites that tend to provide full family histories, such as Ancestry.com. After you finish kneading your dough, get a large bowl and grease it up. Then, take your dough, turn it over so that the top part is down on the greased bowl. Now let it sit until it rises about half the size it is now, so for about an hour. Now we wait. Despite the lack of data about Fannie Brandon out there, I've scoured Davidson College newspapers and yearbooks just to figure out anything about her, especially when people have mentioned her. And of course, people keep coming back to the food, such as Mabel's rolls, or green beans, fried chicken, and Oreo ice cream, all of which I'll be showing you how to make in later episodes. To ensure ideal rising, cover the dough back up with saran wrap and place it in the oven so that it keeps at a consistent temperature. Once the dough is risen, take the dough out of the oven and we're going to make them into little balls. Put them on as many buttered pans as you need. I have 3, just in case I need them all. What you're going to do is you're going to take the dough, kind of get into it. Yep, it's all risen. Now get a good amount for a nice, maybe inch-wide ball. Roll it into balls and place them about 1/4 of an inch away from each other. Now that you have all of your dough into little balls, go ahead and stick all of them into the oven and let them rise for about another hour or so, or until they're about double the size they are now. About 15 minutes before the balls stop rising, or before you want to put them into the oven, take them out of the oven, preheat the oven, just lay the rolls on the counter for a little bit. When the oven is preheated, go ahead and stick your rolls in. And set the timer for 20 minutes. In order to find Fannie, I'm asking her to teach me how to cook. And through these videos, I hope you find a similar love for her. She and Mabel fostered a wonderful community at Fannie and Mabel's Eating House by bringing people together over food. When the rolls are ready, take them out of the oven. Mabel's dinner rolls, yum! Now imagine that times 4 or 5 or so, because you know Fannie and Mabel were making tons of rolls for those hungry guys. Thank you, Fannie, for helping me make my first dinner rolls. And viewers, stay tuned. Next we'll have green beans, fried chicken, and homemade Oreo ice cream to finish off the meal. And in the process, you'll learn about Fannie's life before, during, and after her time at Davidson. Thanks, guys!